Welcome to Talk About It, Be About It, the show in 2 parts. And today I'm sitting down with Tucker in all caps. And we're going to learn about how he got to where he is in his very illustrious music career and where he's going next. And then we're going to go be about it. Tucker, welcome to Talk About It, Be About It.
I've never been more thrilled to do anything in my life. Thank you so much for having me. Premiere episode, my very first guest. Live, laugh, love.
So you are already downloaded on the premise of the show.
Yes.
Could be the very first 2-part hybrid podcast TV show.
And it's all you, baby.
Yeah. So what we'll be doing with your beautiful self is we're going to sit down. We're going to talk about your music career, where you're from,
yes,
how we met, and we're going to tee up our really should be spectacular. We haven't done it yet. Part 2, which is the Be About It portion.
We're going to record the theme for said program.
Yes.
Yes. And you're going to get on the mic, the song vocal mic. Are you nervous?
I am nervous.
It's going to be fun. I feel like, you're natural on a mic. You love to talk. You love to bit, It's
Well,
just...
for how outgoing I am very nervous for being in a studio.
It's new. But that doesn't mean that it won't be beautiful and thrilling and all the things you want to do.
Well, we'll see. So let's dive in, Tucker. How did we meet?
I love we're on like the therapy couch.
Yeah,
and tell
this
me,
is our big talk about it couch.
Tell me about all of your feelings and all the things.
I'll take us there. This is how we met.
And we're back on the couch.
Yeah,
so it's great.
Yeah. But nonetheless, I remember meeting you the very first night. We went to a party and you got on the piano or singing.
Yeah. Well, Amanda had a place on Hollywood Boulevard and she threw a party at her house. And right. I was going back and forth between LA and New York at the time, every 2 weeks, basically, because I was singing on a TV show in New York and I was doing a lot of session work and writing out here in LA. And I was sort of relying on the kindness of strangers to put me up and make this bi-coastal career a reality. And Amanda very much opened up her home to me, and so did a lot of other people, and eventually you did too, but we met at her house that night.
Which, ironically, that is the same couch I slept on when I first came out to LA.
Really?
It wasn't my first time in LA, but when I graduated college and came out, I had a 2-week stint on that couch too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I spent a lot of 2-week stints on your couch when you were living in La Brea, technically, but Fairfax.
Miracle Mile.
It was Miracle Mile.
Yes.
Yeah. But you were very generous with me. And I really did rely on the kindness of people to open their homes and their lives to me. But weirdly enough, in LA, people were very kind to me, including you, obviously. But I ended up being here so often that I really fell into a friend group of people that were all really sweet with me.
I just remember that whatever party we were at where there was a piano placed outside on the front lawn. And we were just getting to know each other. And you just started singing on the piano, slapping the keys.
Got to do what we got to do.
I sat next to you and we were just singing and we were just grooving.
Do you remember what we were singing?
It was probably the Carpenters or something.
It probably
ridiculous.
was we've only just begun.
We've only just begun.
And do we have the rights?
Or Bread.
It was probably, Bread came for me later, I think.
Okay.
But I'm a huge Bread head now.
But needless to say, we're fast friends.
Fast friends. Yeah.
And we both have kind of been there for what I would say is our mutual yet individual ascension into our careers.
It's very true.
We've been friends for 7 years, I think now.
Yeah.
Which is a long time.
We've seen each other through a lot of different chapters. For sure. Both personal and professional.
Yeah.
It's been a journey.
Yeah. But I have always been incredibly interested in how you got your start.
Okay.
And growing up in a musical family.
Sure.
And, maybe one day we'll have your mom on the show, but she's got
crazy
stories.
Nothing would thrill the mother Tucker more than to come on your program.
She's got crazy stories. Flying over Woodstock in a helicopter. Who is she?
She showed up for a few minutes and then said, "This isn't for me," and just flew out. She was like, I can't.
And that is incredibly iconic behavior to just show up to Woodstock and be like, I'm good here.
Yeah, it just wasn't for her.
So tell me about how you got your start in the music industry and really growing up. Was that always, because your family was so musical, like, did you know that was what you wanted to do?
Music was everywhere in my house. So my dad's a producer and a voice actor, and when I was growing up, he was doing all the sonic branding for Nickelodeon, and so it was like prime demo where it wasn't prefab MTV yet. So they really wanted the branding to be true kid friendly. And me and all my friends from school would go to the studio, and my dad would put us on the mic, and he would like get B-roll of us laughing and kidding around with each other. And still some of my best friends to this day were people I did that stuff with.
So you have laugh tracks and Nickelodeon shows?
Oh yeah. So I ended up becoming, and what was so great about it at that time was that Nick as a brand was bringing in ringer kids from like William Morris and all the agencies to try to do their branding, but they ended up going with like me and all of my friends because we weren't like trained actors yet or trained voice actors.
Just
kids. Exactly. So I ended up becoming the voice of like, coming up next on Nick, 8/7 Central, and it was a riot.
Wait, so I was listening to your voice watching Nick.
Probably.
Nickelodeon before I met you? Wait, I had no idea.
Yeah, so I
Wow.
started doing a lot of that, and then because my mom is a songwriter and a singer and a session singer, I just grew up in recording studios and with songs being written in the house and around the house all the time with my parents and all their really interesting music business friends creating together all the time. So it was very much encouraged for me to be a creative person. I think they wanted me to be like a doctor or a lawyer or something, and something a bit more like stable.
Yeah,
but they couldn't argue with
me. Such a safe bet. A non-creative field is such a safe bet.
Well, as you know, as a creative person, there's like amazing months and there are months that are not so amazing.
Especially as a freelancer, like we both are.
100%. That's why I'm so proud of you for launching this, because it's like, you really have control in your own passion.
Yeah.
But my parents, because I saw them go through it, I had a deep understanding of what it meant to be a professional creative as a kid. And I think that when eventually I caught the bug and was really, truly interested in it beyond little experiences here and there that they very safeguardedly immersed me in, I was able to actually spread my wings and really fly because I had a basis.
Probably navigate the business in a way in which a lot of people starting out really can't. There's a lot of, we don't need to dive too deep into like the perils of the music industry. That could be a whole episode, but I think everyone has a general understanding that the music industry is unlike anything else, and it could be scary, it could be hard, and it's cool that you had support and people that have already navigated it.
Yeah, well, they were very generous with me, and I think that if they didn't think I had the goods, they wouldn't have been able to try to help. They would have probably discouraged. And luckily,
I've met your parents, and if you didn't have any talent, they would have led you in a different path.
Well, they're very kind,
but they're honest.
They are kind and honest. They are East Coast Jews. They are very much who they are.
Yeah.
But they were really good about putting me in the righteous situations at the righteous times.
Yeah.
And when it felt like, because I think we've seen so many tales of like child performers and stuff like just not having the good end of the stick.
And I've actually met so many child actors, like current child actors.
Yeah.
Anybody?
Well, the industry has changed a lot.
For sure. But my first summer in LA, we were staying at the Oakwood, which is like, I'm pretty sure where Miley Cyrus stayed with her mom when she was like auditioning. It was like this very iconic, decades old, like where people landed to try to move to LA and get their. So I would like walk around. I was there for college, a summer abroad, summer in LA.
Well, I mean, technically it is abroad.
Yeah,
it's a different experience.
And it's an interesting dynamic if you don't navigate it correctly. You've got all these little kids running around, running lines with their mom, and momagers. Shout out to them. Like you see your kid, you have talent. Like it's tough. There's a lot of dynamics going on, and it's not easy to navigate.
I just feel very lucky that my parents were able to help me navigate it in a way that was about the talent and about the work and the creativity while also taking care of business.
And not like so much as the fame and notoriety.
Yeah, it was
It's
really
always
just about,
been
hey,
about
we've
the
got a
art.
creative kid and we want him to be creative. So I'm very grateful to them. Shout out mom and dad while you're watching.
But I feel like did you go to some of those crazy like musical camps growing up too as a kid?
I did. So I started going to a summer camp called French Woods.
Yes.
Which
I've heard about that place.
It was instrumental for me on a like personal and creative level. They had everything there. It was like circus and I was doing flying trapeze, and then it was like putting on a musical in 2 weeks and doing recording studio sessions and writing songs and getting in studios with like my peer group as opposed to professional older people that were hiring me to do work.
It's like every theater kid's dream.
It was a dream, and I was so fortunate to do it.
Yeah.
But I did that every summer, and what was so nice about the camp is that it attracted both kids from around the world, so a lot of diversity in different cultures and the ability to connect with people from all over, not just in terms of campers, but also staff. So seeing people who...
Is that where you met Amanda?
Yes.
So this place is really the reason that we know each other.
Friends was a huge part of my life.
Okay.
But
you need to get a lower back tat. Frenchwood. They're back in.
A Frenchwood tramp stamp.
Yeah, they're in.
They cannot gift this part of the podcast. Like the Frenchwood's logo. But beyond the staff and campers being from all over the place, it was so multidisciplinary that a lot of different professional kids ended up coming, like a lot of Broadway kids. So I used to go see Broadway shows that like my friends were in during the school year because I lived 10 minutes outside of the city.
Wow.
And I just commuted it, and that also made me hungry for it in a way that I was like, well, how come I can't audition the way those friends of mine are doing? And my parents were like, well, we want you to go to school and have a childhood.
Still have some normalcy.
Exactly. So, I had the right amount of exposure as a kid.
So in high school, you have all your friends, they're auditioning, but you were having a normal high school life.
As normal as it could be. I went to a really hoity-toity prep school in the Bronx, and It was very academically challenging. But for all intents and purposes, I was doing live shows here and there in New York. I was getting my feet wet as a solo artist, but I still was going to class and doing my thing. And because my mother dropped out of high school in 10th grade to be in a band with Jimi Hendrix, and because dad went to Columbia and Harvard, I had the real guidance of like, do whatever you want. Like we'll support whatever you
I think
choose.
It's important to like maybe discuss if you are technically a Nepo baby, which I'm pro
Sure.
Nepo baby, but like, if you are, like, let's just own it and move on. Like,
here's the thing.
How would you categorize yourself?
I had a lot of exposure to situations and relationships that might not have been there otherwise, but that was the nature of being in a middle-class music business family where every month my parents were hustling to make life happen.
Yeah, and I think
was
that's
not
a
a
misconception
kid.
with Nepo, with
Totally.
like nepotism. Like, your parents still...
It was not easy.
Like
Yeah.
they weren't, from my understanding, like, made of money. You didn't get to just, like, go to Greece every summer. Like, people have this misconception with like nepotism as always being from rich families, and really sometimes it's just joining the same business. I mean, taking over your father's plumbing business is still technically nepotism.
It's a different form of lineage, right? I think for me, they were very supportive of whatever journey I wanted, and they were the kind of parents who just hustled to make sure I could hopefully capitalize on the dream that I had, whether it was going to a figure skating class or playing basketball on a team. They just really wanted to facilitate me trying.
So how do you get to college? Like, is college an obvious for you because of your upbringing, or?
Well, that's sort of what I was getting at. My parents had the guidance for me that they didn't really care whether I went to school, whether I didn't go to school. They just wanted me to pursue whatever my journey was, because their own journeys were so diametrically opposite of one another's.
Right.
So I ended up opting to go to the new school because I thought it was actually sort of like the perfect byproduct of both of their worlds. I could still get a really progressive, intellectual, academic education, but then also like really start working professionally in New York at the time. And what I loved about the school was that all the teachers were adjunct. I think it was like 95%. So because they were all doing what they were teaching.
Right.
So I was very immersed in like a very professional world from the second I stepped foot on that campus, and the campus was New York. So I would go to class during the day. I would then do a recording session at iHeartRadio, like impersonating whoever the pop star at the moment was. Like, I remember one time Justin Bieber got in trouble for smoking weed. Like, he was like innocent in those days and wasn't a bad boy.
Do you know what's so funny is my only experience on radio TV, we're like on like a local radio TV on radio is I was
on radio TV.
On radio TV.
This is radio TV.
Yeah. I was in High School Musical. The musical.
Playing.
I was playing Kelsey. I played this shit out of those fake pianos. Like, all the older women in my hometown were like, honey, you played the piano so beautifully. I'm like, thanks.
You're like, thank you so much. I played nothing.
But anyway, we did like a radio interview, and I just remember making everyone laugh and getting some messages on Facebook because at some point I blacked out and impersonated Sarah Palin. So I guess we both have that in common.
Like basically, what I think you're saying is we both worked professionally in radio doing impersonations.
No, I'm just saying it's a little ironic that my only radio experience is also impersonating someone.
Yeah, well, I basically became the like white boy pop star call at iHeart for years, and a few other radio stations too. But basically, I would go to class.
Can we get an example?
Sure.
Of some of the stuff?
I remember Justin Bieber got in trouble for smoking weed. He was like very clean cut in that era. And Sorry was the song of the moment.
Okay.
So they would rewrite the words to these pop star songs, like Sorry, the people that worked at the radio station. And then I would come in and like be the pop star singing the remade lyrics. So it would be like, you know, I'm trying to think of like what Sorry was, like, sorry that you caught me smoking weed. It was just like really dumb songs.
Yeah, like parodies.
But they're the things you hear on the morning shows on like Z100 and the rest, and you are driving your car to work and you're cracking up because it's just dumb.
It's just silly.
But I did Harry Styles. I did all the One Direction boys. I did so many of those. But then I would like go back to class, take another class, do a live show at night, and go to bed. And so I was really starting to work and make a name for myself in the session singer industry during school, which was amazing.
Session singing. Mm-hmm. Session singing. You were in Saturday Night Live. I'm stumbling hard right now.
Do you want me to just explain?
No. What is session singing?
Session singing is basically you are being hired to come into a studio to do a session for a given end game outcome, basically. So unlike a songwriter that's coming into a session just to see what we come up with and try to make something, which still is an end game, but you don't really know what the end game might sound like. The end game here is that you're coming in to sing. There's been something that's already written. You're doing stacks. You're essentially facilitating
like
the actual performance of what someone has already created.
And you did that for a long time in New York.
Yeah, and I still do it here and there amidst all the other things I do now. But in New York, I was doing it at SNL for a while. I did the iHeart stuff. I backed up some of the most amazing artists in the world. I've been really, really fortunate.
I distinctly remember when you sang backup vocals for Carole King.
Yes.
Was that on the morning?
We did it on the Today Show. It was during I forget which election year it was, but she had this song called One that she had written several decades earlier, and she rewrote part of it to sort of have to do with the nature of the election.
Right.
And we did a group 10, I believe, backing her up on the Today Show, and she's like my favorite artist ever.
She's
so
like your
it was,
Cher.
She's my Cher. Like gays have Cher, gays have
and Tucker
Kylie, and I have Carole King,
and I have the Carpenters.
Yeah, I mean, like it makes sense.
Yeah.
But I loved her so much, and sometimes I say like, "Don't meet your heroes" because they might not live. Like she was everything I wanted her to be.
I also remember your fire was so lit after that. Yeah. Because after that moment for you is when you really got into the groove of like, I have to get to LA.
I was taking all the money that I was making at that time as a songwriter, as a singer, and just putting it into flights. So that I could maintain my career.
There's no profit.
There's no profit.
You're just
like
working.
Totally in the red and like eating, and crashing on couches.
And I was making a lot of dinners for us.
You were making, and you still do, and I'm very grateful. But it was really nutty because you're hustling, you're trying to make it happen. You don't want to completely close the New York chapter because people are calling. And you don't want to completely commit to LA when it's just starting. So I really did that bi-coastal thing for about 3 years. And then after the Carole gig and a few other gigs, I made the jump, of course, to LA more officially, almost full time in January of 20, which is famously the best time to move, looking back at history.
That was crazy because you had planned your move meticulously.
I know.
And it was something I was like, you got to do it. You want to do it. Like, come on, Tucker. And
my partner and I did really well. Like, I had my first song.
Alec.
We love Alec. Alec had started at the Groundlings.
Yep.
I was starting my real career here more officially in LA, and I got my first song in a feature, and it was like a really.
What's so funny for so many people in our lives and people I talk to, like the first 2 months of 2020, like pre-COVID,
Things were so good.
Things were so good.
I know. I was like in the best shape of my life.
Yeah,
Like.
I was too. I was working on a National Geographic show, which was like on a bucket list
loved
for
that
me.
show. I remember.
I mean, shout out to Bobby Bones.
We love Bobby Bones.
He doesn't know about this yet, but maybe I'll send him the link and he'll be proud of me.
Hey, Bobby.
Yeah, he's a radio icon.
The best.
But yeah, no. So like top of 2020, arguably everyone I know is doing fantastic.
Right.
And then lockdown. But lockdown, you had a lot of success too.
It was an interesting time. I mean, it was very fear-inducing for me. I'm a type 1 diabetic, so COVID was nutso for me because
Really not
every single
ideal.
time I got on the news to look at what was going on, it would be like, high risk list, you. And I'd be like, great, okay,
Yeah.
we're all going to die.
Lost
So
a couple
I just
friends
ate a
during
lot.
that.
I know, it was a crazy
really
time.
tough.
And lost not just like friend breakups, like we actually lost people in my life, and
Yeah,
it was really scary. And I just ate a lot of buttered toast and watched Gilmore Girls and didn't leave my apartment and gained a lot of weight and did a lot of session work remotely because there was still a need for stuff to try to entertain people.
Yeah.
But the industry started changing, and fast forward to now, luckily. Amidst all the changing coasts, and I moved back in with my family and did all this different stuff to try to just survive and make it through.
Yeah.
We're living in this new normal, but it ultimately kind of like lit the fire under my ass in a whole new way to put out my own music, and it was nice.
I can't skip what happened during COVID with you and your mom.
Okay, go ahead.
Because not only did you get to work, so during COVID, you moved back in with your mom and dad for a second with your partner, Alec, who's one of the funniest people I know.
Love it.
And your mother okay, your mom's song, like a song that she worked heavily on, got picked up
For the Masked Singer. And Wendy Williams sang it. It was a song called Native New Yorker. She sang on a bunch of New York hits because she's a New York sound. She was hired for it back in the day.
She also is a native New Yorker, so
exactly.
it makes sense.
So it originally was
but
a song.
her handprint's all over that song.
Totally.
Yeah.
And you hear her all over it. It's a song by a band called Odyssey. Yeah. And Wendy Williams did it on The Masked Singer. And, we love Wendy, but, she's not the original.
No.
So she had a very iconic performance of the song, and it went super viral. And my mom is not on the internet.
No,
she's not. So I just filmed me showing her the song, and it went super viral. And I got her on camera. We talked about her working with Kiss. We put her in Kiss makeup and did a whole New York Groove thing.
We can put the link to that.
Yeah, it's
link below.
Link in bio. But it was just so fun to get to unexpectedly spend all that time with them.
Right, but we can't forget what happened next.
What happened next?
What do you mean what happened next?
Tell me.
The song was then picked up for the COVID shot.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're so right.
We can't not talk about that.
New York Groove, which was another one of her songs that she sang that was an Ace Frehley Kiss record. By the time we had done that video, the song got picked up to be the re-emerging into New York campaign song.
Yeah.
So it was one of those
it's like you can step out of your house, you can get a shot, and
we're back in the New York groove.
We're back, baby. Yeah.
It was so great.
And
nutso.
And I don't know if everyone will comprehend this, but the way that music rights work, that was really big for your mom.
Oh, it was a wonderful, unexpected
resurgence
thing for her. Yeah, it was great.
In a time where things are not going great.
It's so true.
But I really think as your friend, seeing that happen for your mom, 30 plus years later too, was probably, in my opinion, the thing that kept you inspired to keep going with your own career.
This really is turning into therapy.
No, it's fine.
Well, honestly, we
got to get you back to LA. This is how we got you back.
Yeah, well, to be super vulnerable about it, I just think seeing, not just that, of course, that was a huge part of it, but seeing your condition on a high risk list every single day, it forces you to sort of go into your fight or flight mode. Obviously, I became very circumspect and cautious about going outside and doing things, but instead I just got really creative.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of other artists did in that time too. So what I decided to do was to really still keep working for other people and doing all the other work that I did as a session singer and writer, but really start the artist journey on my own stuff, because I had spent so many decades of my life at that point really helping to facilitate other people's creativity with my own, as opposed to just letting my own creative freak flag fly. And that's why I started releasing stuff. So I've been on the artist journey now for, let's see, April of 21 is when I started releasing stuff. So yeah, about 3 years now.
Almost 3.5.
Yeah, almost 3.5.
Your COVID story is a really beautiful example of really going after your dreams, talking about it and being about it. Like, you know, the name of the show, like my ethos, like what I try to live by. And I'm also like a very good friend of yours. So I'm like getting a little emotional. Like, we talked so long about you moving to LA. You moved to LA, the pandemic happened, you left LA. And then you were still about it. Like, you still were being about it. And you came back to LA and you chase after your dreams, and like, and you're a success story. Like, you are.
That's so sweet. And the same thing is true about you.
But you are. Like, you are. And I really want to make sure that we highlight what you're currently doing, because you have now stepped into Tucker in all caps. So your session singing career is still happening in the background, but at the forefront is you stepping into your own creative thing, which is what I'm also doing for the first time. Like,
well, I was about to say, I mean, it's like the same thing is true. And I think that when COVID and a lot of these big life moments, we were really forced to reckon with the fact that the world is spinning, but that our time on it is very limited. And when you have these real life moments, I think that's part of the reason why I, in particular, if we're getting really therapized about it here on the beautiful green couch. You know, I've had a lot of very near-death experiences in my life. I was born a few months early. I have the diabetes. I've just, you know, it's the diabetes.
I was gonna say. Your fellow diabetics are gonna love that.
I know.
The diabetes.
The diabetes. But I've had a lot of crazy medical experiences in my life, and so I think that when COVID happened, it was the moment where you have to really reckon with, like, how do you want your life to look when it's time to go on to the next chapter. The final chapter, if you will.
The same exact thing happened to me. I always wanted to explore. I think that was like the first core value as a child.
And that's why we gravitate towards each other. Yeah.
Like, I grew up watching Modern Marvels and like the Tudor special on the History Channel.
Sure.
Back when the History Channel was like, you know, I'd get home from school, I'd grab a bag of Lay's potato chips, make a turkey sandwich, and sit down and like, I would be learning something. I would go to school the next week like, did you know? And my teacher's like, cool, like, you need to learn how to do math. Like, please sit down. Like, I don't need any more Greek mythology facts.
As long as you know how to add and subtract.
My Roman Empire was the Roman Empire at like 10. So for me, like, I always had this like innate interest in the world and history and really wanting to experience everything. We didn't have a lot of money at the beginning of my life, but like, as we started to be able to go to nicer and fancier restaurants, I'd be like, oh, let me try the escargot. Like, I'm 14, but I could be down. Like, I just always, I had like a real zest for life, and it led me here, and I'll open up more about that at a different time
in subsequent episodes.
But for right now, I think I just want to highlight, like, this is why you're the perfect episode 1 guest, because we are
so sweet.
We are so aligned. We've had similar things happen, similar journeys, similar chapters. And right now we're both stepping into that next thing that is completely ours. So take me into Tucker. Link to your Spotify is also
linked on all wherever you stream your music. You can listen to me. Yeah, these days, as opposed to back in the day where I was really straddling the like session singing with writing, these days I'm straddling session singing and writing with the all caps Tucker artist project. And it's been a really interesting ride. I'm producing a lot of artists that I'm really proud of, but it's also really nice to have full creative control over work that I want to put into the world. And
you have the best album covers.
Thank you so much.
Like, your single covers are so fun.
Thanks. I love being silly. I love letting my creativity just fly.
Yeah.
And it's nice to, especially as an indie at this moment in time, it's nice to be able to just like make what I want to make and say what I want to say. And one of my songs, Faux Fur, this is actually interesting.
I knew you were going to talk about Faux Fur.
Story.
I love that song.
Thank you.
Faux Fur. Like you don't know her.
Oh my God. It's like, you're ready for Be About It.
It's like
You're
I
a
have the
singer.
song downloaded.
It's like you listen to it in your car.
Like I listen to my friend's music.
That's so kind. But interestingly, when I actually wrote that song as a pitch in those years that I was going back and forth. My manager at the time, I showed him the song and he was like, it's just a little gay. I don't know that anybody would want this. Like, I don't. And meanwhile, it's like my most streamed song on every platform. It's the top performing thing now. But it's because I decided when it was time for me to really step into my own artist thing to say, like, it's not to anything. It's me.
It's you.
It's me. And like, and people were responding to it because I think people like authenticity and like people being themselves. And
you have to lean in. I had an ex tell me that nobody is lukewarm on me. People either love me or hate me.
Why be any other way?
And I'm just like, that. If that is, it is what it is.
How boring to live a lukewarm life.
Yeah, no. Yeah, really.
I'm on that wavelength too,
I'm hot
girl.
or I'm cold. I'm yes, then I'm no.
In, out, up, down. Wrong, right. Black, white. just keep
Current lollipop.
Hey.
Kaleidoscope of colors.
We're very matchy today.
Yeah, we are.
We really operate
Unplanned.
on the wavelength.
Unplanned.
Sometimes it just be like that though.
We're in a flow state together.
All to say, to bring it back to your question, because I know you want to stay on topic.
I do want to stay on topic. Thank you.
I think the Be About It for me is about ultimately just being really creative. I realize that I love having a creative life. Yeah. And when I'm not doing those things and I get caught up in the BS of the business or survival life things, I find that when I'm in my full creative thing, all the other things that are survival things or BS things, they all just fall into place.
They fall in line.
Because I'm doing what I was supposed to be doing.
You're in alignment with like your soul contract, so to speak.
Oh, it's such a great way of putting it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, shout out to Pixar. Love you, soul.
Oh my God, literally.
I am a Pixar girly.
Aren't we all? When is Wall-E 10 coming? I think those are the big questions.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important for our viewers and listeners to really, before they dive into your music, which I'm hoping they do, because who wouldn't look at you?
Come join the party.
How would you describe Tucker as an artist yourself? I know it's so close to who you are, but give me a log line. Give us the pitch. What can we expect in Tucker music?
The log line is if you want to listen to music about self-esteem, spirit, sexuality, and celebrating yourself and the beautiful people around you, and you want to have some funky, good time fun, you're coming to the right party. This is the party for you.
What's the one that's like, it's got like the trumpets in the background?
I got some horns on a bunch of them.
See, that's why I love your music, because I think music today is so lacking in saxophone, horn, flute. Yeah. So, and you have all those.
We're bringing music back, you know. And don't get me wrong, I think it's a really exciting time for music.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really cool stuff going on.
We're in a pop resurgence, I believe.
I know, and I just like that people are starting to want to make songs again.
Yeah.
Songs
Lady
with
Gaga.
real
Are we going to talk about
instrumentalists.
We have to talk about
it.
The best ballad of
you
the
are the
last
Gaga
decade.
to my Mars, queen.
Yeah.
This is it.
Wow.
Tear. Flick it off. We're going to have so much fun. I wrote a theme song for Talk About It, Be About It.
Okay.
Called Talk About It, Be About It.
Title track.
It's a 45-second funk song. And I'm going to sing and you're going to sing. And we're going to get you on the mic and we're going to teach you how to do a lead vocal performance, which we will then comp, meaning like take the best words and phrases.
So I'm getting
of.
in the studio?
You're going to be in the studio with me, and my pal Skylar Coco is going to produce it with me. And
we're fully immersed. We're going in. This Be About It section is I'm doing your job. You're teaching me how to do parts of your job.
We're doing the job together. Whew. And it's going to be really fun.
Okay.
We're going to all hop on a mic together and sing as a group. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Is there anything I should like prepare for?
Just do some vocal warm-ups, you know.
La 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 la.
Natural.
Yeah.
You're going to be great.
My show choir teacher, Mr. Kirby, if you're watching this, I might send him the link. I'm going to do all of our vocal warm-ups and really tap back into 16-year-old me.
Red leather, yellow leather.
I think it was like, if you want to be ready to sing. And then like you just go up the scale.
If you want to be ready to sing.
Yeah.
Right,
You must prepare the air.
You must prepare the air.
Prepare the air. So
I want to be in Mr. Kirby's class. That sounds fun.
Long.
My other favorite growing up was "Mommy made me mash my M&Ms on Monday morning, ooh ah." Mommy made me mash my M&Ms on Monday morning, ooh ah.
Ooh, I know.
There were weird ones.
We weren't that. They were always so weird.
Theater camp.
You know, maybe
camp.
at some point in your career you can make up new vocal warm-ups that are just a little more fun. Okay, you work on that later.
I'm already
I just
having
saw
ideas.
you completely
Can we
go.
cuss on this program?
Yeah.
Bitches and hoes in the club.
Oh my God.
Bitches and hoes in the club.
I think the
So on.
younger people's parents would really love that.
Yeah,
Coming home from theater camp.
Listen, they're seeing so many dirtier things on their television
That
programs.
is true. And the tiki-taki.
The ticky-talky be talky ticking.
So, okay. Tucker,
Miranda,
I love you.
I love you too.
Thank
I'm
you
very proud of you for doing this. And I will just say, I don't think I would have the life and the career and the, I'm going to get emotional too, and the trajectory that I've fallen into had you not been such a generous friend to me from day one of meeting you. You opened up your home to me. You opened up your life to me. I became a surrogate dog uncle to your
Rocky.
to Rocky feet. Shout out, woof woof. It's so wonderful to see you throwing the same kind of generosity towards your own passion. You've been in the service of so many other people for a long time, and it's nice to see you spread your wings in this way. It really warms my heart.
I really had to swallow that tear.
You're very welcome.
You know that once one comes out, it's a waterfall. Yeah, I don't want that.
We don't want no waterfalls.
But I do want to just say I'm so excited for part 2 of TAI. Talk about it, be about it.
I can't wait to hear you sing on a mic.
I've never been in the studio before.
I've heard you sing many times.
A lot of shower sings.
A lot of shower sings.
A lot of car sings.
But it's time to, document in posterity. This is exciting.
So the next time I see you and our guests see you, our imaginary listeners and viewers.
Who are you people?
The millions of people who will love this show.
Speak it into existence, which is a lyric in the song.
Ooh. The next time we see you, we'll be in the music studio. And we're going to be about it.
We're going to be about it.
We're going to be about it. Talk about it, be about it. TAI, bye.
We're going to slay on the mic, and I cannot wait. And I hope that, and I know that this will become a tremendous success. If you stay in it, keep doing it, and I will come back for season 49.
Well,
It'll be great.
I'm doing it. I'm talking about it and being about it. And I'm excited to have my first part 2 be about it with you, my friend. Thank you so much.
Love you.
Love you. Bye. Okay. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss Tucker and I in the upcoming Be About It section.